All right, let's talk a little bit about justice and injustice. There are many injustices in the world. You could stop this video and make a list of injustices. You could next ask, well, what must be the case when there's injustices, at least in most cases? Here's an answer. When there's an injustice, some people or some group of people have set up the system to give themselves unfair advantages. They've set up the system so they get various benefits that other groups don't get, or they've even set up the system so that they can harm other people and other groups to their own advantage. Well, so John Rawls was a famous philosopher who in 1971 wrote a book or published a book called The Theory of Justice, and he offers a super important view about justice. It basically comes to this. Well, justice is when you have a society that's following rules or laws or policies that everybody would agree to if they didn't know who they were. So he says we need to think about things from behind what he calls the veil of ignorance. And if you think about things from behind the veil of ignorance, you are ignorant to any fact about yourself that you could use to make laws or policies that would unfairly favor yourself. So, if you didn't know your race, if you didn't know your sex, if you didn't know whether you were rich, didn't know whether you were poor, didn't know your education level, and you didn't know all that, and then you evaluated laws or policies in light of that, well, then you would be seeing things from like anybody and everybody's point of view. And Rawls basically proposes that if you wouldn't agree to something behind the veil of ignorance, because, you realize, well, this will affect me really badly, then that would be unjust in the real world. So he proposes justice is fairness, and what is fair is what you would agree to behind the veil of ignorance. And Rawls's idea has been super influential. If you read almost anything about justice, it's going to mention Rawls because he had such a really good idea. So I hope you find it interesting, and think about how it would apply to all the injustices you can think of. Thanks.